Hello everyone, this is Erica with Save On Designs, and I got quite a few questions about the paint fill on these really fun Bigfoot magnets that I was making, so I thought I'd do a really quick video on how I did these. First of all, this is an art scene file that is in my store. It's got all the sizes and some different, with some hangers, and there's like a chunkier size like this. But I am going to use these. So these are pretty good size magnets. And this is the art size that's 2.25, I believe. So it's the one that comes in the sampler, or that you can order a whole sheet, which is what I did with these big feets. I got a whole bunch of them. And these are going in a little shop that I have a space in up the mountain a bit. So a little touristy type town everybody drives through to get to the mountains on this part of the state. So I'm hoping they do pretty well there. I think these will be a fun thing for those kind of outdoorsy people to see and the like. So first of all, I'm going to kind of show you how I cut these. So I start them all lined up like this. And I have three different, different programs, layers. I have colors. I think they are called layers though. But I have the words in one layer, the cut in another, and another engrave, because on the back we're going to do an engrave. And in my program, and I think in most programs, definitely I know Lightburn has it. I'm using Xtool Studio. You can turn those layers off. So I turn off my engrave layer, and I'm just going to engrave the words and do the cut. So while these are sitting there after they're done, I'll go put my arm down like this on the wood so it doesn't move. Kind of push these out. They're on top of the honeycomb, so I can kind of push down and the middle pops out. Then I can flip this over just like this. They're all still lined up. Go back to my program, turn off the cut and the word engrave, and just do the deeper engrave. And this deeper engrave is really nice for these. They fit down in there. The file does come with a little tester. I don't know if I still have that sitting over here. But you can test a small piece and see if that's going to fit, and if you can run your finger kind of across it without feeling it too much and know that it's pretty flush. Then you know you're setting to go deep enough before you start doing all this, because that does take a little time. So when these come out, they're going to look pretty messy. They're going to look like this, all goobered up. So first thing we're going to do is clean. This is Eco Wood from Smoky Hill, and this is the black cherry. I think I called it oak barrel on a post I did and realized I was wrong on there. With these, this really soaks up moisture, especially in these engraves. Little magnets with the Eco Birch, and especially Eco Birch and some Eco Maple, I don't notice it as much. But instead of spraying it directly on the Eco Wood, I'm just going to spray it on my little microfiber cloth here and just wipe all that laser schmutz off. So that we're cleaning that up good and letting that dry a little. And I usually let these dry quite a while, just in case I got any moisture in the words. That dries them out. If I put the paint in right away, it might lock that moisture in. And this is one that I kind of messed up. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I think there was a little piece of something in there that it didn't adhere. And so I sprayed this down, and actually maybe I'll take it off. That'll show you a little easier. I sprayed this down really good with some cleaner, and that MDF just absorbs it. And it's probably really hard to tell. Let me see if I can get close enough. And I don't know that you guys can see it or not, but if you've worked with Eco Woods, you've sometimes seen that it kind of bubbles up a little. Most of the time it'll go back down. If you see that a little bit, it's not a super big deal, but I've had some that haven't recovered when I've sprayed it directly on there. So that's why I'm using the rainbow cleaner and putting it directly on the cloth. But I'm going to let those dry a little bit so it doesn't lock any of that moisture in. And I have some I cleaned a little while ago. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do the paint fill. And this is just a little paint fill. I've done bigger projects with a lot more paint fill. It works either way. I think the very first project I did was my logo, and it was pretty good size. Uh-oh. Computer screen there. I thought it would cut me off. So I did a bigger one. Didn't really have any of these squeegee things. This is my favorite, the first one, and it comes with, and of course I didn't grab those, and I'm not sure where they are because I don't use them unless I have a big project. It comes with like a wider squeegee, and they're only a few dollars on Amazon. I'll put that link in the video comments. And this just has that little end. I was using a credit card on my very first one to try to scrape that down as much as I could. So I've got just regular acrylic, craft acrylic. I'm not even going to use a brush or even squeeze it out. You could squeeze it out if you wanted to. If your bottle was a little low, you may need to. I'm just getting that tiny little bit to start. And the reason this works is there's a finish on that eco wood that the paint will come off of. When you get it down into this engraving, it is engraved, you've got to engrave deep enough that it's going to hit that MDF that's underneath, that veneer on the top. So it is going to stick to that MDF, but it's going to wipe off the top of our project here. And I'm being a little careful with this only because if you get it on the sides, this is MDF, it's going to stick to it. If you get it in here, it's going to stick to that because that's where our cuts are. So I'm being a little careful to not get it on that edge at all because it won't wash off of there. And this is pushing all that paint down in. And when you're covering, sometimes you can't see it all. So after we wipe it off, we may have to do a little bit more. This is a very small little bit. So it's going to dry really fast. I'm going to do this one. This is my favorite. I am a sucker for a good pun. And this one says, Namaste lost. And I think there's 8 different, or at least 6, maybe there's just 6 different little word things that I used on here for these. Namasquatch, peace, love, Bigfoot, seek peace, not proof. I think there's one that says peak relaxation, which we are here in Colorado Springs. We look up to Pikes Peak, and that's where a lot of those campers are going up the mountain towards Pikes Peak. So that kind of fit my area a little bit. This is not part of the file. These are just words that I added to the file that I have. And let's do one more here. Again, just that little tiny bit. I'm going to kind of smear it around and smear it across. And that squeegee puts it right down in there, cleans a lot of that off for us, so we don't have as much work to do later on. And keeping it off those edges. And like I said, it's a very small font, very thin font. There's not a lot of, oh, I can already see there's some missing in the G there. But I'm going to show you what I do. Paper towel. I'm just using a little water bottle here and doing a tiny dip. I don't want this really wet because I don't want it to pull off what's already in there. So I'm kind of squeezing it just to spread that water around. This is just barely damp. And then I can go in and just start wiping off this paint. Once you get it on there, go to a different spot because otherwise you're just smearing paint back in there. And now I can kind of see I've missed a couple spots in that G. So I can go over it again. It's not going to take very long. And then we can move on to the next one. So I can really see where I missed. Didn't get enough in there. So I was trying to be careful not to get it too close to that edge. I missed the end of the G. But this makes it super easy. I wipe this off. There's almost no cleanup, no cleaning brushes. Anything I can do that keeps me from cleaning a paintbrush is right up my alley. I have a finish I put on with Q-tips, so I don't have to. And this peace sign is not coming up right away. It almost looks like it kind of missed the engrave a little bit right in that one spot, which can happen once in a while. And again, just a tiny bit of water. And as these dry off, you may see a little bit of haze, and you may just have to go over it again with some water after it dries a little more. If it kind of hazes in those, there's a little tiny bit of texture on this wood, not a whole lot, but actually I think we got that off pretty good. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm watching my screen. There we go. And with that squeegee, there's actually just not a whole lot of paint on here to try to get off. And I'm not pushing down too hard, so I'm not getting down in there, which might bring some of it out as well. And yeah, I think that one's pretty good. Is it gonna focus? There we go. And now we can come back to this one that we just did. Find a spot that doesn't have a lot of paint on there. Yeah, this one just kind of skipped the engraving there. Bummer. Yeah, I won't use that one. Assembly, super easy. I've got my flat squares here. I did back it with 3M, which makes this so much easier. And we're just going to flip this over. Ooh, well, that's nice and dirty. I guess this was one I didn't clean all the way. And just get that schmutz off where it's going to stick so we get a really good hold. Cost-wise on these, I was doing some calculation, so I can get 18 of these on a sheet of the Eco Wood. So for 2 sheets, they're $6 each, so that's $12. The flex that I got for these is solid, so not the transparent. Full coverage on white is only $12 a sheet. And I don't remember how many come on a sheet, but it's a lot for this size, so I'm not even using that many, so you'd have even more of these left over. But even if we calculate that $12 in, so we were already at 12, so that's 24. 3M, we'll say $2. If you buy the big rolls, it's probably a little less, but $2 for that. So we're at 26, and I can get 18 of them. Even putting a magnet on the back of it, you're under $2. You're probably about $1.75 in materials on these. That's going to fit really nice in there. Make sure I got them going the right way. Yeah, I think that's what happened with the one I messed up, is it just bumped up as I put the top on. So that's nice and in a good spot. And of course, these are always so awful. I have, oh, this isn't the one. Oh, there's the one with the hook. This little weeding tool that always is good to get under. That 3M. I always look at my grains to make sure they match up. That might not matter as much to some people. And line that up. 3M does give you a little wiggle room. It is going to activate more with pressure. So once we get that lined up, we can squeeze that all the way across. Ta-da-da. And the magnets I'm going to use, they come on a sheet like this. These, I have a smaller size I use sometimes. I'm going to use one big one. These are really strong for what they are. One magnet will hold this just fine. I have stuff tested on I have a little refrigerator here in my my workroom, and it holds just fine. In fact, I have this one sitting here. It's on my light lamp, so it's not even on a flat surface. It's on a rounded surface for the little stand for my light, and it holds great even there. So I'm not worried about these at all as far as if they're going to hold or not. I'm going to try to get that kind of in the middle. I like it up a little bit. I'm not sure why, but there we go. And I'm just going to give it a good squeeze. And he's ready to go. He's going to stay lost and hopefully find somebody's maybe little camper refrigerator to live on down the road. So I hope this was helpful to some people, and just to kind of see that process and what goes into it. And I hope you guys have a great time doing some paint inlay on your eco woods. And thank you guys very much. If you happen to cross this video and you're not a part of my group, you can definitely find me at Laser Love with Save On Designs on Facebook. And Save On Designs is also my Etsy store. And we would love to have you. Thank you so much, guys.